1, 2. Hello people. How are we doing? Welcome to episode number 1 of the prep series. As some of you may know, I will be competing in 2026, and I thought this year I really want to document the whole process. So in this video, I'm going to take you through the plan of action moving forward, where I'm currently sitting. I'm going to recap my last prep and where I left off from there. And yeah, this is the start, prep episode 1. So I'm just gonna start by recapping my last competition season, which was in 2023. And this was actually my first competition season as well. And yeah, it went pretty well. Despite everything that happened in that prep, I was really happy with the end look and the end result. I pretty much got exactly what I deserved for, let's just say, like, my start point and my adherence. I won't lie, like I was a little bit gutted at the time, but looking back and having a bit more of a mature outlook, let's say, on that whole process, yeah, I can't complain. I literally can't complain with what happened. I stepped on stage around, I want to say 185 pounds for the first show, and actually, like, I don't think I was too far off that weight from the second show as well. My lowest weigh-in of that prep was 172 pounds. I won a regional. I was really happy with that, but I couldn't quite hang at the international level. I think there's definitely a lot that me and Ryan have learned from that prep. A lot of mistakes that we have rectified this year and we're absolutely not going to make. I think the first one being is we lost way too much weight way too quickly. Unfortunately, I have quite deceptive body fat distribution, and when you've never done a prep before, it's virtually impossible to kind of gauge where your stage weight's going to be. So we started prep at around 224 pounds. And at that point, I literally had abs. I had a relatively detailed midsection, and obviously in men's physique, like, that's the main thing that you look for. So we were like, yeah, this is sound. Lost 25 pounds and I was still pretty soft, and then ended up having to drop another 30 pounds from there. So we ended up having to drop off 50 pounds total altogether in the whole prep, and I think it was a 26-week prep. So we did have plenty of time, but the thing is, dropping 50 pounds all at once is never going to result in a good look. I was pretty diced, I was pretty lean, but I was pretty mashed by the end of it. And looking back, I definitely could have been a lot leaner, which is obviously the goal this time round. Also, right before that prep, unfortunately, I dislocated my knee, which was fucking horrendous. I've broken bones before, and the pain was like completely different to that. And obviously that threw a bit of a spanner in the works in terms of the productivity of that prep. I pretty much spent the whole time rehabbing my knee, so leg training was pretty subpar. At the time, I was like, I'm doing men's physique, it's not actually that big of a deal, you know, my legs are going to be on the board shorts. However, I lost a hell of a lot of tissue from my legs because of my basically like shit training. Instead of my body taking energy from fat stores, it was taking it from muscle in my legs. So I was dropping weight, but my legs were just looking skinnier and skinnier by the day. I guess as well, in men's physique, like, if you've got bigger quads, they're going to fill out the board shorts, you're going to look more balanced. It's also going to make your waist look smaller as well. So yeah, hopefully I don't do that this time round. So that is pretty much the prep wrapped up from last time round. I've done 2 gaining phases between that prep and now. The first one lasted about 6 to 7 months. It was relatively productive. I gained a good amount of tissue. This past gaining phase that I did was honestly the first time that I could say that my adherence levels reflected my goals of where I want to go in natural bodybuilding. I was the most adherent I've ever been. I didn't miss a meal. Training was perfect. I ate to my needs. My sleep and recovery was all dialed in. And I did that for pretty much a year straight. Honestly, the results show. I got up to 250 pounds in like semi-respectable condition. I've definitely been a lot softer at 240 pounds. So that was really cool to see. We got lifetime strength on pretty much the vast majority of lifts. So my RDL, I think my best was 215 for 7, which is like, that's insane. That's almost 5 plates, which I never thought I'd be able to do. Was very close to a 3-plate Smith press. I think my best was 2.5 and a 2.5 kg for 10 repetitions. I was super happy with that. I mean, not like my pushing musculature needed to come up anyway. And then the big one for me, because we were focusing on bringing up my legs, because we want to do bodybuilding this time round, I definitely improved on a lot of my leg compounds. So hack squats, leg pressing, even leg extensions to an extent, we massively brought them up in the past year. Now, the reason we've decided to part ways with men's physique and have a crack at open bodybuilding, me and Ryan simply just think that I look a lot better in the bodybuilding shots. I've got wide structure. I've got like quite a big frame, like I'm 6'2". I think once I've filled out my frame, that on stage will look quite imposing. I think, you know, bodybuilding is a lot about, you know, who's the biggest, who's the leanest, whereas men's physique, it's a lot about kind of who's got the prettiest physique, who's got the nicest taper, the nicest midsection. To be really honest, that just wasn't me. Like, it wasn't my physique. And I think the way that my physique was trending and my style of training was trending, open bodybuilding kind of seemed like the best option for me. I would much rather continue to try and grow as much muscle as possible instead of try to fit category requirements that I don't really suit, essentially. So that brought us all the way up to August this year, and we started my pre-prep diet. We started from 250 pounds, like I mentioned earlier, and we are now at 200 pounds. So stripped off a hell of a lot of body fat, starting in a way leaner composition than I did previously, 25 pounds lighter. And that puts us at a projected 30 pounds off of true stage condition. And we are starting prep in April 2026, 24 weeks out from the first show. Reason I say projected is because I am pretty lean right now. This is absolutely the leanest I have ever been at 200 pounds. I've never seen lines like this on my physique. I've evidently built a lot of tissue. So it's really difficult to tell what my actual stage weight is gonna be. Honestly, it could be a 20-pound prep, who knows? However, there is no harm in getting super lean early, stripping off the vast majority of body fat, and giving myself plenty of time to get in true stage condition. Essentially the complete opposite of what we did last time round, and I'd much rather have it that way, to be honest with you. And if we are already a bit too early, or I'm coming in a bit too fast, then there's no issues with slowing the rate of loss down or reversing out and simply just doing some earlier shows. For now though, we are reverse dieting. We are gradually titrating food up. I can't lie, I'm pretty damn hungry. I'm pretty ravenous, bit battered as well. As you guys know, it's close to Christmas time. I'm not gonna lie, I wanna eat everything in sight, but that is not the goal. The goal for me is to be the best possible bodybuilder I can be. Come August time, when I step on stage, I will not regret my levels of adherence and discipline now. Ultimately, my desire to be the best possible bodybuilder I can be is far, far stronger than my desire to eat plenty of food over Christmas time. So for me, unfortunately, no mince pies, no pigs in blankets. We're just gonna put our head down, work through Christmas, and yeah, ride the wave of suck for now, but that's okay. I can't really complain because ultimately it's my choice. Like, bodybuilding is a choice at the end of the day. The goal in this next phase and over the next 4 months is to drive food up as high as possible whilst maintaining this level of composition that I've got, getting leaner, harder, fuller, and essentially bringing up my weaker parts of my physique to create the most balanced look possible. Namely, those weaker body parts are my quads and hamstrings. I actually think my adductors and glutes have come up like a really good amount and are pretty balanced to the rest of my physique. My quads have also come up like a really good amount, but I think quads are just the most important body part in bodybuilding. I think there could be a little bit more density and width to my quads just to create that nice nice X frame from the front and have a nice thick side leg. The main weak point in my physique is my hamstrings. They are ass, they're so bad. I've definitely brought them up in the past year, but they still lack a lot of density, and especially in the side leg and the side chest, it's quite noticeable how much of a discrepancy there is in muscularity between my quads and my hamstrings. So over the next 4 months, the goal is to absolutely batter them. Do everything I can to bring them up as much as I can to create a balanced physique. Now, the main thing that I want to focus on during this competition prep is first and foremost nailing the process. Doing everything I can to be the best possible bodybuilder I can be. To be super honest, I did not do that last time. And I definitely stepped on stage with regrets because I look back on my journey and I thought to myself, well, I could have potentially looked better if I'd adhered more. So we're going into this prep with an off season behind us that I made a shit ton of progress from, and we're going to nail absolutely everything. Secondly, one of my other main goals is to simply just enjoy this prep. I'm not gonna lie, I can't remember anything about being on stage. It's all a bit of a blur. I definitely didn't enjoy it, and to be honest, the whole time I was just ridiculously nervous. I think that simply came down to just fixating too much on placings and, you know, looking at other people, comparing myself to other people, and yeah, I didn't enjoy it. I know that if I'd cared way less about placings, I would have enjoyed it a hell of a lot more. And the ironic thing is, if I'd enjoyed it more and I'd put less pressure on myself, I probably would have looked better. The goal this time round is to enjoy myself, be present in the moment on stage, have a bit of fun with it, and see how it goes. I'm literally going into this prep with zero expectations. I'm happy with how I look, but I'm not naive. I'm going into open heavyweight bodybuilding, which is arguably the most competitive class in natural bodybuilding in terms of muscularity and condition. The standard in the UK is ridiculously high. Realistically, I don't think I'm going to be winning shows, but that's absolutely fine. My main goals is to focus on solely myself, nailing my process, and most importantly, having fun. Okay, I'm gonna wrap it up there. Thank you very much for watching. If you've stuck around until the end, I appreciate you massively. I'm gonna try and keep this up on a weekly basis if I can. Let me know if you wanna see any specific content, full days of eating, training days maybe just like raw training footage, or maybe even a voiceover of my training footage over the course of prep, giving a few pointers here and there. But the main objective is to kind of document everything. And yeah, that is it. We're gonna wrap things up. Episode 1 of the prep series. I hope you guys follow along and enjoy the process.